Hi, friends. Thanks so much for being here. It's so great to see you. I'm Christiana Gaudet. I am your Tarot Fairy Godmother, and today we are here with a really fun topic. We're going to spend the next hour talking about the tarot and poetry. And right away, Clumsy Clairvoyance is starting us off with a super sticker. Thank you so much. Super chats and super stickers are a way that you can support this channel, and I really do appreciate it. Membership is another, and I want to welcome everyone, and especially our members. Members are people who make a monthly commitment to the channel, and that is much, much appreciated. I appreciate everyone here, whether you're here with me live or coming in watching the replay. Glad that you're here. Please do like the video. If you have not subscribed, please do and hit the bell so you will be notified the next time I'm live. All right. So happy to see you all. Thanks so much for being here. We are here to talk about tarot and poetry, which at first you might think, what do tarot and poetry have in common, really? And it's only like the very arcane person who would be interested in both tarot and poetry. Well, not true. Tarot is entwined with poetry in a really significant way. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And by the end of our time together, all of you will have written a tarot poem as well. And so have your tarot decks and also have something to write with. Pen, paper, tablet, keyboard, whatever, something to write with. All right, Claire, thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated. So happy to see all of you here. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to start with a little bit of history. Then we're going to get into why tarot and poetry, and meditation all go together. We're going to talk about some poets who have written about tarot, and then the process of writing tarot poetry, why it's important, how it helps. We're going to talk about all of that, and I've got a couple of exercises for you that I think you will find interesting and enlightening. So, really, the combination, the intertwinement, is that a word? I'm not sure. The intertwinement of tarot and poetry really goes back to the very beginning. When tarot was just a game being played in Italy, there was a fad called tarocchi appropriati, which was making up poems about the different tarot characters while they were playing the game, and having those poems compare the tarot characters to people that they all knew. And eventually those poems became predictive, and it is theorized by some that that's how the idea of tarot cards being predictive, or tarot cards talking about something more than what they might originally have done. When tarot was first invented, it was a game, but it was a game that reflected the value and culture of its times. So those archetypes were already in there. But they were in there as part of this plaything rather than a tool of divination. And somehow it became a tool of divination. And we think that this fad of making up poems about the cards was part of that. So nice to see all of you here as people start to come into the room. I'm so happy to see you all. Thank you all so much for being here. So the next person I want to talk about, actually it's the first person I'm talking about, William Butler Yeats. One of the most important literary characters, Western literary characters of the 20th century, was in the Golden Dawn and may have been involved in the development of the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Smith-Waite Tarot, the Waite-Smith Tarot, however you want to call it. Yeats may have been involved. And Yeats has written a number of poems that reference tarot. For example, his poem Blood and the Moon, the final section, which is the fourth section, begins, upon the dusty, glittering windows cling and seem to cling upon the moonlit skies, tortoiseshell butterflies, peacock butterflies, a couple of night moths on the wing. Is every modern nation like the tower, half dead at the top? Interesting, right? So on one hand, that's sort of a reference to the tower, but the poem is about the moon, and there's a tower in the moon card as well, isn't there? He wrote at least 3 poems that reference tarot. There was that one. There was also a poem called The Tower, and another called The Fool by the Roadside. So there's that. Now, there are many poets who have written about tarot. We know, of course, T.S. Eliot, of course, created some cards that don't really exist, and there's been much speculation in the tarot community about just what he was talking about. Marge Piercy, one of my favorite authors, wrote a poem called Laying Down the Tower. Here's a piece of it. The tower will fall if we pull together. Then the tower reversed, symbol of tyranny and oppression, shall not be set upright. We are not turning things over merely, but we will lay the tower on its side. We will make it a communal longhouse. Cool, huh? Marge Piercy, of course, is a feminist writer, if you hadn't sort of figured that out. But cool. And in fact, it was one of my earlier introductions to tarot was that poem as I was reading Woman on the Edge of Time and some of her other writings that I really enjoyed. Perhaps you've read them too. All right. So somewhere along in my journeys, I came into possession of the Book of Tokens, Tarot Meditations by none other than Paul Foster Case. This book, copyright 1960, this book is filled with Kabbalistic meditations for each tarot card that, quite frankly, like, I'm not a Kabbalistic tarotist, so I don't really get it. But if you're a Kabbalistic tarotist, you should really have this book. But the bottom line is, it's all poetry. These meditations are poetry. And suddenly we see that tarot and poetry and meditation all come together. And it makes sense, doesn't it? Because tarot is pictures that cause us to find words, and poetry is words that cause us to find pictures. And when we meditate, we find meaning to words, pictures, and life itself. And so we'll talk a little bit more about the process of meditation, tarot, and poetry as we go on. All right. So when I was preparing for this, of course, I Googled tarot and poetry. Oh my gosh, there's your homework. There's so much. You would think that this was like this thing that only a few nerdy people were into. Oh, but no. Tarot and poetry is so connected. I even found a poem that was kind of anti-tarot. It was a really well-written poem about a tarot reading that this person is sort of watching and finding really silly. But it's still a poem about tarot. There are poems about tarot reading. There are poems about tarot cards. Yes, this is, Julia, this was actually published by BOTA. Yes, exactly this. So you can write poems about tarot itself, about the process of tarot, about tarot reading, and you can write poems about individual cards. Our focus today is going to be primarily about the practice of writing about individual cards, But that is not the limitation of tarot poetry. Oh, Dave, I've thought of writing a haiku for each major arcana card. I've got 3 already. Would you like to see them? Heck to the yes. Anyone who has written or has found any kind of tarot poetry that is short enough that you could get it into a comment here, please, by all means, share. You know, I have written enough tarot poetry that I could spend this whole hour just reading my poems to you, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to share a couple, but not too many. Because that would be kind of boring and pompous, right? So if you could share some of your writings as well, please do. If we were doing a workshop together, all sitting together, that's what we'd be doing, would be sharing our writings. So please do share. So, and I'd love to know a couple of things. I would love to know if you have written any tarot poetry, and again, if you can, share some. If not, tell us about it. And have you found any tarot poetry, and is there any tarot poetry that you like? Go ahead and share with me what your tarot poetry experience has been, and I will share with you Dave's haiku. You know, Sharon, nice to see you, and thank you for becoming a recent member. Really appreciate it. A new book in the making. I was thinking about that. Once I finish book number 3, that's almost done, I was really thinking that that would be a very interesting thing to write, like a serious work on tarot and poetry. Clumsy Clairvoyance, I believe you could even argue that tarot poetry and magic. For instance, a lot of times I write spells, it flows like a poem. Yes, 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 thank you. When we talk about poetic devices like rhyme and meter, scansion, that is a magical thing. That's why a lot of spells and incantations rhyme. By the power of 3 times 3, the circle is cast, so mote it be. We write a lot of rhyming chants and incantations and spells. It is poetry and it is magical. Dave, aren't some mantras and invocations pretty much poetry? 100% yes. So here are Dave's haiku, The Fool. His journey extending before him, contemplating clouds, surf, dog's fur, cat's purr, knowing what choices lie ahead. Beautiful, beautiful. The Magician. From above, the adepts gather elements of energy made material in time. Manifest to serve here, below. So good. And Strength, I see you're not going in order. That's fine. The calming power of love, she faces down fear, tames malevolent forces to quell the coming storm. So good. Thank you so much for sharing those. Fabulous. So yes, share your thoughts, share your ideas, share your poetry, share whatever experience you have with tarot and poetry together. So I will share with you at this point my experience. And okay, so starting with years ago, when I was going for certification through the American Tarot Association. The American Tarot Association still exists. They do not offer certification any longer. But I was going through certification, and one of the things they asked for was to write a tarot poem. A tarot poem, you say? Had never really thought of it, had never really done it, so I did. I wrote a poem, and I don't even have that poem anymore. I wrote it and submitted it and got my cert. I mean, that was a piece of getting my certification, right? So I didn't really do much else with that over time. And then probably 11 years ago or so, maybe a little longer, I was going through a really rough time. I had a lot of issues with grief. I had lost a family member and I was not handling it well. Like years went by and I was not handling it well. And somehow a particular tarot card was sticking in my mind as being the direction of healing, the healing that I would have to do, the process of healing. That card was the Eight of Cups. And so often we think about the major arcana cards as being the big lessons and the minor arcana as being mundane. But my big lesson was in the Eight of Cups. And I looked at the moon, the eclipse, the sun, phases of the moon, whatever's going on there. And I thought, man, this takes a long time. Thinking about the phases of the moon, it might be many, many months. And I thought about, well, what's going on in this picture, really? Obviously, I'm talking about the weight image. And I was thinking about how this person had taken their emotions and left them at the beach. And I basically wrote a poem about that, but thinking about the sorrow and grief I was dealing with. And wouldn't you know, by the time, it took me about 3 days to write the poem, by the time I was finished, I felt a lot better. There was real healing there. And so this is a place of magic too. When we talk about using tarot for healing, to take a card that you need, either because you choose it or you draw it randomly, and to focus on it and to think about it and to make it part of you by writing a poem about it. And I am not a poet particularly, but by writing a poem about it. And in that process, something magical really happens. And whatever it is you're trying to get through, you get through. So that caused me to start what I call my 78 Poems project. You can find it on my website. Hit the button for writing, and it's the first thing that comes up. And this is basically a project where I'm writing a poem for each of the 78 cards if I ever finish. There's no, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hey, Kristen, you made it. Nice to see you. Dave, writing is putting words in the right order. Poetry is putting the right words in the right order. Very good, very good. Kim, so good to see you. I was hoping you would make it here because you were the one who suggested we do this, by the way. And thanks for being a member here. I posted a set of loosely defined haiku for Ace through King of just the wand suit on Instagram. It's based on the zombie tarot, though. I'll share a couple if I can get my phone to cut and paste. Please, that would be fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Really appreciate it. So thank you for all of that. Yeah, share as much as you can and share your thoughts about all of this. Sharon, I have many decks that I bought because of the artwork, but don't really connect with them for reading. You have me thinking they might be great for sparking poetry. Absolutely, absolutely. Yolanda, nice to see you. Thanks for being a member here. Poetry is cathartic. It has brought me through lots of tough times. Kristen, thank you for getting out of work early. It's so good to see you. So I started that 78 Poems project, and I saw that Marjorie Jensen was looking for submissions for an anthology she was putting together called Arcana. I submitted some poems. 2 of them made it in, forward by Mary K. Greer. Unfortunately, this book is now out of print. And I was going to reach out to Marjorie and see, these days, books don't need to go out of print. So I want to see what can be done about this, because it is a good book. It really is. And what I learned from reading this book, other than the fact that I saw a lot of people I know in it, but one of the things I learned is that there are poets who write about tarot, and there are tarotists who write tarot poetry. I obviously am in the second group. So there's just some great works in here. Tabitha Dial has some stuff in here, and I will, if it's okay with you, I will share my 2 poems that are in here, if that's okay. Maria Pia, I'm elated. Thank you for opening one more application for tarot for me. Yeah, it opens a whole new door. And the thing that is so cool about it, so cool, is that, how can I put this? It will help you understand the cards more, as well as helping you heal, as well as bringing magic into your life, as well as sparking creativity. It's all the things. It's all the things. And yes, I would love to, Kristen and La Morena, I'd love to hook the two of you up if that is at all helpful, and anyone else. Okay, so do you want to hear my Eight of Cups poem? I will tell you, I mention an Orisha here, Yamea. I realize this is not my culture. But when I go to the ocean, it is Yamea I think of. And it is she who I felt called me to Florida, although I do not claim to understand her or have the cultural background to know her. And yet, she's in this poem. And so, back in 2010, I felt perfectly okay about that. Now I'm like, is it okay? I don't know if it's okay. But I did it, so there it is. Before I read it, let me just share a couple of things. I did not say terrorists, I said terrorists. We are word and picture terrorists. Yes, we are. Okay. La Morena, honestly, this is super inspiring, and I was bored until class started. I forgot it was today, just washing my hair. So I might start writing after. Actually, you're going to start writing before we close this class. Kim, poetry is when we use words to say what can't be said with words. That's fabulous. Yamaya, thank you. Yamaya, thank you. Okay, I'll pronounce it correctly when I read it. Yamaya. Okay. And anytime about anything, my pronunciation on a lot of things is off. I am a read it, not said it girl. And so anytime I have pronounced something wrong, please correct me. Please correct me. Okay. Eight of Cups. I search for signs of danger, for tentacles and claws. Yamaya waits as at the shore I pause. A long time it took to get here and longer still to leave. Into 8 cups I pour my sorrow and the reasons that I grieve. I take most somber inventory as day turns into night. For if the heart be heavy, how can the feet be light? Yamaya watches as I stand upon her beach. I fill and count the cups and stack them each on each. On the shore I linger as night turns into day. Then I draw my cloak around me and turn and walk away. Now, that's an interesting one too, Yamaya. I looked it up today because I had always pronounced it that way, Yamaya. And I looked it up today and got like 3 different audio references that put the syllable, the accent in the middle. So it depends. Yamaya. Yeah. Yamaya. Anyway, she never said her name to me, but I sure did feel like she was with me at the ocean. So there it is. And appropriate and respectful. Thank you. I'm trying to be. I'm very aware of my very European and Russian background. Let's put it that way. And some characters from there call me as well. So whatever. So when we talk about poetry, it doesn't have to rhyme. It doesn't have to have meter. It can be anything at all. I thought it would be fun, and I'm just going to share one other, which is not a rhyming poem, just to give you to give you a sense of poems that don't rhyme as well. Okay, so it's okay? It's okay? I appreciate your tolerance with me. Thank you. All right, so this is about the Two of Swords. So I will tell you that as I've gone through writing these poems, some of them have been more of an intellectual thing, like, okay, I'll write about this one today. Let's see what I have to say. And some of them have been more spiritual. Kristen, it is on my website. If you go to my website and hit the button for writing, it's 78 Poems Project is right there. You can read all the ones I've got. Actually, all the ones but one. I have one more to post. Oh, Kim, here we go. Let's do Kim's next. This is Kim's loose haiku for the wands. Ace of Wands. With meat still there, here, on these bones of sundial, moving forward, is what makes new flesh. Wow, so good. So good, so good. Oh, you managed. You managed. Very good. Very good. Please share as many of those as you feel like. That was great. And anyone else who wants to share, please do. And I will read for you a non-rhyming poem that I wrote. Oh, based on zombie tarot, it makes sense. But I mean, you know where I'm at, because you were, when we had that conversation with Kristen. Was that her name? You were there at that live I did on her thing, and you made me write off the cuff about the Ace of Wands, and so I see the Ace of Wands creating flesh all the time. Okay. Horse Fan done. Good poem. Could be a song. So many poems and lyrics are interchangeable, right? Okay, so Two of Swords, you'll remember that Aleister Crowley, the key word that Aleister Crowley has for the Two of Swords is peace. And I used that in this poem. Peace is a balance kept in balance and not without risk. The heart knows but wants anyway. It should not make these decisions. Sometimes the heart speaks but should not be heard. Once unheard, the heart may resort to screaming and then fall silent. In that silence, there is peace. All right. So those are some examples. And thanks to Kim and Dave for sharing some others. So I have a couple of exercises that I wanted to play with. And the first is we're going to diverge a little bit. Those of you who are members may have seen my members only video. Oh, cool, Betty, you used the light bulb. Yay, opening a whole new door. Yay, yay. Right, Julia, the Lord of Peace restored. Exactly. Okay, and thank you again. Thank you all for being here. And those of you who are members, thank you for being members. So the members only video where I did the Poetry Tarot Puppet Show. This is another way to play with tarot and poetry, and it's a lot of fun. And what we do is we find cards that go with different parts of poems, so it can be like a puppet show. And so I am going to challenge you. I've got the first couplet of what is probably Dylan Thomas's most famous poem. And actually, it's not the first couplet. It's the repeating stanza, but okay, never mind. Your name is not in green today. That's true, Kristen. Are you in with a different account? It may be that you're a member with one account and not with the other. Right? That I want to see. Right? Well, yes. Yes. So, okay, so the two lines I'm using here by way of explanation. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. This is a poem that Thomas wrote about his father dying and his feelings about his father dying. So here's what I did. And I mean, there's no right or wrong. And I'm going to ask you, once I do this, I'm going to ask you to do the same. Either with these two lines, do not go gentle into that good night, rage, rage against the dying of the light, or any two lines of any poem or song you can think of. I'm going to ask you to do the same and come up with the cards that work for you. So it's not supposed to expire, Kristen, and I thank you so much for your membership and your support. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. I would go ahead and check on your end and see what happened. I'll remember and I'll check and see if you show up as a member. I'll go under the dash, under the hood, and check and see if you show up as a member there. But it may be that it may be that you have to reactivate for some reason. Typically, you don't have to reactivate unless you cancel. But why would it have canceled? I do not know. But I appreciate your support. Okay, so you ready? Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Okay, there it is. There it is. And here is, here we've got a couple here. From Kim Kim, 5 of Wands. Claim your universe before it breaks or grows old. Antiques are pricey. Ooh, so good, so good. Betty just got Rockham Tarot deck. I don't know that one. I could see so much poetry in the cards. Clumsy Clairvoyant, here's a poem for the devil. Laughter and lust, fun is always a must. Silly goat man, are you really the devil? And if so, do I have reason to run? Oh, so good, so good. I love it, I love it, I love it. So, your challenge is come up with any couplet and make a tarot puppet show. Now, obviously, you have to write it out. So just write the word and then the card. And let's see how it goes. You don't have to, but if you want to, do. And otherwise, try it at home, make videos, share the videos. It would be fun. Hashtag Tarot Puppet Show, Tarot Poetry Puppet Show. Let's have some fun. Okay, here's the 8 of Wands from Kim Kim. 8 of Wands, oh pang. In every step, I ease toward heaven with this old-fashioned face. So good. So good. So much creativity here. So the poem I did, if you haven't had a chance to see it, if you're not a member, or if you are a member and haven't had a chance to see it, the poem I did was lengthy. It went through a lot of cards. It was a lot of fun. But you could do pretty much any poem, any song. I did a psalm of life. Tell me not in mournful numbers, like life is like an endless dream, for the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem, that one. And it was a lot of fun. And it helps us understand the cards and understand the poems. So if you would like to share a tarot poetry puppet show in writing, you may. If you would like to share any tarot poem, go ahead and go ahead and share that. And I will give you a few moments to think about a tarot poetry puppet show and write it out if you like. Kim, wish we had like buttons here. Seriously, that would be good, right? That would be really good. So while I'm giving you a few moments to think about a tarot poetry puppet show, you could do one line, you could do 2 lines, whatever you like. And then I'll have another exercise for you. Let me just do a couple of promo things. I have all of the YouTube stuff for November is now up, including the members only live stream and a couple of classes and an extra class. We have 3 classes in November because we have a guest class with Nancy Sage Shadow, Nancy Hendrickson. So 3 classes in November. Clumsy Clairvoyance Poetry, just a side note, the puppet show reminds me of storytelling. Sure, absolutely. I'm not going to do the whole thing, Karen. I'm not going to do the one I did as a member. In the member video, I just did the 2 lines. Here we go. Here's another one from Kim Kim, 10 of Wands. And thank you so much for sharing them. Think not, but that it is done, and it's a new day with diamonds to shine. And that wasn't the 10 of Wands, it was the 9 of Wands. Makes sense. That totally makes sense. Absolutely. So go ahead and share if you would like. While you are, you're putting together your puppet show, for anyone who is not, you have a shameless self-promotion. Go ahead, Yolanda. Okay, so YouTube stuff up for November and the rest of October, obviously. Yep, StarCon, some kickin' storytelling coming to the StarCon Theater in 2022. Yes, indeed, StarCon 2022. January 21st through 23rd, 2022, hybrid. Online, Onyx Sullivan's, and in person in Palm Beach Gardens. And a lot of people have had a hard time understanding what that means. Most presenters will be in person, some will be online. The ones who are online will still be presenting in person on screen. The ones who are in person will still be presenting online. They'll have microphones and cameras and will be presenting in the hybrid environment. So everyone will get pretty much the same stuff. Everyone gets the 30-day afterglow. Thank you, Dave, for that name, the StarCon Afterglow, where you can rewatch the classes you loved and watch the classes you missed online on Onyx Sullivan's. There are a limited number of in-person tickets. Tickets are on sale right now. Ticket prices range from $50 to $450. Get your tickets, starcon.com, STAARCON.com. Get your tickets. Yolanda, congratulations. That's wonderful. So Kim Kim, what I'm hoping you'll do is you'll take a couplet. It could be the one I use. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. It could be from any song or poem, and come up with the tarot cards that you would use with it and just write them in. So you've got the words and then put the card next to the words. 2 lines. So go ahead and do that. Ah, perfect. Okay, Betty Fleischer. Which cards would be grow old with me? The best is yet to be. Okay, I'll do that. I've got that. The last for which the first was made. Okay, grow old with me. Or even better, hang on a minute. And I'll give you a few minutes if you'd like to try that exercise, and then we will go into the next exercise. Okay, very simply, grow old with me, the best is yet to be. The last for which the first was made could easily be like the world, the last, the world for which the first was made. The 6 of Cups would be sweet there. Okay, here we go. Dave, puppet show. The fault tower, dear Brutus, is not in the stars, star, but in ourselves. Fool, you understood the assignment. Yes, 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 yes. So much fun. So much fun. And as I said, this might be fun to like make videos and post them. Hashtag Tarot Poetry Puppet Show. I think that would be fun. Let's see if we can make it a thing. Very good. So if anyone else wants to share theirs here, please do. Now, the next exercise. For this, you are going to need an ability to write. And I don't mean a talent. I mean pen and a piece of paper or tablet or however you normally write. And you're going to have a choice to choose a card face up or face down. if you want, like the question is, what card do you need to dive into right now for your healing? What card would help you heal at this time? And if it pops into your head, you can look through the cards face up and find it. If it doesn't, pull it at random. So everyone get your card, your one card for healing. Go ahead and get it. I'm going to pull one at random because I'm feeling okay and don't have any card popping in right now. Ooh, called out by tarot, am I? Okay. Oh, yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Okay. Makes sense? My poem. I'm old and menopausal and cannot sleep. The end. Well, okay. Australia has judgment reversed. And you can choose to use the reversal or not. So here's your exercise. Once you have your card, you are going to write down keywords that you associate with this card, phrases that you associate with this card, and any sort of I statements that you would associate with this card at this time. Like mine was, I can't sleep, which, by the way, is true because of the age I am and because of the gender I am, right? So keywords, key phrases, and I statements, or any other statement about the picture, what you feel, in no particular order, just write them down. What are the key words you associate with this card? Make a list. What are the phrases you associate with this card? Put this all in a list. Just make a list. Just make a list. Of course, I told you to do this. Did I bring a pen? I didn't. Let me run and get a pen. All right, here I have a pen. It even has my name and logo on it. Is that not cool? All right. So go ahead and make your list. Any words, statements, groups of words that you associate with this card, that you see in this card, that you feel about this card right now. As if you were writing in your tarot journal, trying to remember your key words and your phrases. And I am doing it too. Okay. Once you have written your list of stuff, spend a little time with it and see if you have, in fact, written a poem. Read it aloud, see how it sounds. If you can, share it here. Oh, here we go, clumsy clairvoyance. While true love is rare, true friendship is rarer. So good. The cards, Two of Cups and the Star. So good. I love it. La Morena. I must be a mermaid, Nine of Coins, for I have no fear of the depths, Three of Swords, and a great fear of shallow living, Four of Wands. I love it. I love it. So good. Good, good, good. Very, very good. So we have two exercises going on here. One is the Tarot Poetry Puppet Show, and the other is to simply have this card of healing and writing down keywords, whatever you're associated with it, top of mind, and then see if you have written a poem. This would be also good for do not go gentle into that dark night. This would work for that too. I mean, that's it. There's no one right way. You could illustrate the same lines a lot of different ways. And you could use song lyrics. I have wanted to do You'll Never Walk Alone. When you walk through the dark, hold your head up. When you walk through the storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. You know that one. I found out recently that's like the team song for a football team in England, a soccer team, football, which I thought was kind of fun. Okay, so I will share mine. I knew what the exercise was, but I just did it top of mind. Does it sound like a poem? Sorrow, sadness, dark night of the soul. I am sad and can't sleep. Nightmare and worry at night. It's not the best poem in the world, but you can make it a poem. And the question is there a way for me to find healing with that? What is the healing here? What is heavy? And that's okay. So next stanza would be heaviness. This is like a heavy, heavy card. Like, what is heavy? What is heavy on my mind? Right? And so what came to me there, I'll share that in a minute. Here we go. Wow. Wow. Betty. Four of Swords, High Priestess World. Okay, rest my mind and my soul. Four of Swords. Let my intuition dive into the unknown. High Priestess. For the world is mine to unfold. World. Beautiful. Well done, well done, well done. And Ashriel, here is Ashriel's judgment poem. Forgiveness moves on. Liberation enlightens. Heeding the call arises. So good. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so poetry comes from tarot very often when we simply just think of the cards and of the card and let the words come. And so I came up with another stanza for mine because this makes it sound and look like I'm really freaking sad, and I'm really not. I just can't freaking sleep. And it's driving me nuts, but talk to any woman my age and you'll hear the same story, right? What is heavy on my mind? What is heavy on my soul is nothing but the night. So there you go. Okay, Dave, healing card, 2 of Cups. I miss, I need, I seek, I would share, I would collaborate, I would love a companion, a partner, no longer alone. So good. So good. Yes, from the musical Carousel. Yes, it does. But then it was a hit with Jerry and the Pacemakers. And now it's the theme song of this football. I think it's Manchester United. I could be wrong about that though. So there it is. There it is. All right. So Kim, here we go. 6 of Wands. Is this winning? So silent, they applaud at a single word and pay no mind that I said 20. Wow. Wow. Good stuff. And so what we learn here is that tarot poetry, if you just let it happen, oh no, Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. Jenny, so good to fool you. The fool, I will spin around and take a leap of faith. Will I follow the white rabbit down the rabbit hole, or walk the path going down and down some more, or follow the bright star that guides me? So beautiful, so good. And then when you look at this, like, how does this bring healing to you? Now, another thing I hadn't thought of, but I'm thinking about now, is this idea of incantation. And when we talk about tarot magic, wouldn't it be powerful if you were doing magic with a card to write the magical spell as a poem with the card? Wouldn't that be powerful? Disco Bunny, so nice to see you. Two of Pentacles. Juggling is a balancing game. Balls in the air, steadily, intermittently, stretch too thin. Why isn't this play? Isn't juggling is fun? Where has the fun gone? So good, so good. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. Clumsy clairvoyance, healing card, the sun. Warmth and light. Tomorrow doesn't always come, but when it does, it heals. Beautiful. So keep sharing what you got. Either your puppet show or your healing card poem. And so the homework on this, definitely Google tarot and poetry together and you'll find a bunch of stuff. Consider that writing tarot poetry helps you learn the card better, helps you heal, and as we've sort of, I wasn't thinking about this really when I put this together. I think it was Clumsy Clairvoyance who brought it out, and it's very true, that this also is a part of magic. That poetry, especially poetry in meter and rhyme, is a part of magic. And so if you want to do tarot magic, like which card do you want to do magic with, and can you write a quick poem about that as an incantation? So good, right? So good. Now, so other homework, make a video of your tarot poetry puppet show, hashtag it such, share it on social media. Let's see if people start getting into it. That would be fun. We would have invented something. That would be cool. That would be very cool. And then there are the poems that are just written about tarot reading. That's a thing too. And recognizing that if you're a poet and if you're writing about anything, tarot may find a place in it. And so we can write about the cards and the cards can find their way into our writings. So go ahead and share. I'm going to do one more shameless self-promotion here. And that is that on October 28th, I have a Zoom and Room class that is in person in Palm City and online on Zoom. And it is Tarot for Magic and Mediumship, seasonal class, these deeply spiritual ways that we can use tarot, how we can use tarot to communicate with those who have passed on, and how we use tarot for magic. You need a ticket. You can get a ticket simply by going to my website. I think it's right there on the front page of my website. Just get a ticket. Make sure if you're going to be here in person, you get that ticket. If you're going to be online, you get that ticket. And I'd love to see you at that class. That is the 28th, October 28th. So would love to see you there. So go ahead and share. And while you're working on writing and sharing, I will go ahead and share. I will share a, oh good, Betty just saved me from having to share. Oh, fun, song lyric. Okay, isn't that America? You can do magic, you can have anything you desire. I love that song. So it's the Magician and the Nine of Pentacles. Magician, you can do magic. Nine of Pentacles, you can have anything you desire. So good, very good. I love it, I love it. Julia, Nine of Pentacles. My bird alights upon my hand and settles for a pause. She is free to fly, yet stays with me and lingers. Why does she hold my hand so tightly and keep my company true? Perhaps she is not a bird at all, but my soul through and through. Oh my gosh, so good. That gets, wow, man, so good. And you know, it makes sense that tarot people would be poets and poets would be tarot people, because like they're just not that far apart. They're very adjacent in terms of their creativity, in terms of their meaning. Tarot and poetry are adjacent one to another. And as I went into this, I was like, man, it's such a small Venn diagram, but it's really not. It's something I would say that most tarotists are poets and most poets could be tarotists. So there's that. Okay, so while you're sharing, I will share one more. This is my poem for the Empress. When I was writing it, I was thinking about how not all mothers are excellent. Easy to create, but hard to sustain. Wanted or not, life wants to be. As common as dirt, brought in blood and pain, the mother knot formed perfectly. Uniquely human, both sinner and saint, reflection of divinity. So that was my Empress. All right, so we are in our last 4 minutes. Please do share whatever you got. And let me just check my calendar for when our next meeting is. So obviously on Thursday, I'll do the Tarot Topics weekly newsletter recap. Friday and Saturday, I will probably not be doing my regular live broadcasts. They'll continue the following week. Kristen, here we are. Moderation fluidly integrates healing like an angelic presence, offering the cool waters of peace, tempering passionate desire. So good, of course. That was Temperance. So good, so good. So our next, on Tuesday the 26th, 7 p.m., we have our tarot meetup. Please do join us for an hour of readings and informal tarot study. I hope that you will indeed be here. So I wanted to share with you one other book that I have that's really fun. This was a gift from Brenda Elizabeth. It's called Tarot Tree, A Poetic Guide to Tarot, Volume 1. Every single thing about the cards here is written in poetry. For example, the cups. Our cups fill and empty with that in us which cares. Tangles of love and fury, the pleasures and pains we fare. In navigating the sea of life, use emotion's compass if you dare, and be moved by what murky wisdom your intuition has to share. So that's the cups. And as you can see, there's one for each. And so there's proverbs, there's poems about the color in tarot. So it's just this whole volume of poems about tarot, literally in tarot study. So I wanted to share that with you. It's so cool. Okay, and here is one from Disco Bunny. Kristen. 8 of Swords, let me out, I said to myself as I tightened my handcuff and squeezed my eyes shut tighter to keep out the light that passed through the blindfold. Oh, so good. So very good. Excellent. I want to thank you all so much for being here. This was definitely experimental, and thank you for being part of it. Kristen, thank you so much for the super sticker. Really appreciate it. Hope to see you all on Tuesday for our meetup. I'll be back on Thursday for the newsletter recap. I will not do a Friday or Saturday live as I usually do because I've got a private gig for the weekend. I will be back Monday with the 3-card weekly reading. I thank you all so much for this. Ah, clumsy clairvoyance. Oh my gosh. Christiana the Hierophant. Full of knowledge and wisdom, in her tarot class, almost nothing is forbidden. I love it. Thank you so much. That makes me really, really happy. Really appreciate it. Friends, thank you all so much. For those of you watching in replay, appreciate it. Go ahead and share your poems in the comments. And, oh, here's another one. Another 8 of Swords from Kim Kim. 8 of Swords, with my toes dipped in mind stuff. My sharp companions speak volumes while biting their tongues. Oh, so good. Oh, good, good, good. Dave, song. There's a lady who's sure, Queen of Pentacles, all that glitters is gold, 7 of Pentacles, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. Tower! Oh, so good, so good. So good. I love it. So friends, make those videos. Definitely Google on tarot and poetry when you're bored and have some time. Keep writing, keep playing with this. Try some tarot poetry magic and see where that gets you. Thank you all so much. Make sure you join us for our YouTube meetup this Tuesday, 7 p.m. Make sure you get your ticket for StarCon, either in person or online. And make sure you get your ticket for our class on the 28th, Tarot for Magic and Mediumship, again, either in person or online. Thank you all so very much. I really appreciate you.